Hey everyone, and welcome to Skill-Cap's guide on recoil control in Valorant. Controlling recoil is one of the most valuable skills to have in Valorant and is key to getting more kills and climbing the ranks. You've probably noticed pro players seemingly lasering down opponents when spraying. Well, don't worry, that's exactly what we're going to teach you today and what you'll be able to do by the end of the guide. Now, controlling recoil is important in nearly every single FPS game, but it's actually more important in Valorant than most players realize. This is due to something you've probably noticed before, how much getting hit by bullets will slow you. In Valorant, whenever hit by an enemy bullet, your movement speed comes to an absolute crawl. This makes a technique known as strafe shooting, where you move side to side shooting in bursts, really ineffective at medium to close range since you can't move fast enough. This has the side effect of making standing still and spraying one of the best options when taking a gunfight out in the open. In short, due to how slow you become on bullet hits in Valorant, spraying is one of the most valuable skills to master. However, this isn't just something to help you win 1v1 gunfights. In fact, there's another mechanic that helps you take on multiple enemies called spray transfer. In Valorant, the time it takes a gun to return back to an accurate state after firing is actually quite long compared to other games. This means if you're in a gunfight with an enemy, kill them, but another enemy appears, it's not viable to wait for your accuracy to reset and then fire. It simply takes too long. Instead, you want to use the technique known as spray transfer, where you continue firing after your first target is killed and transfer your spray onto the next target. As you can start to see, controlling your recoil really plays a much bigger part in improving at Valorant than most players realize. Alright, so the first step to mastering recoil control is understanding spray patterns. Each automatic gun in Valorant will have a pattern it follows when you spray. For example, here I have the Vandal. I'm going to hold down left click, but not move my mouse in any way. You'll see the bullets go up, then slightly to the right, then to the left, then back to the right. This is how you can find the spray pattern of any gun in Valorant. Once you know the spray pattern of the gun, you then move on to learning the control pattern. This is actually very simple. The control pattern is just the opposite of the spray pattern. Let me show you what I mean. So with the Vandal, we hold down left click and it begins spraying up. So during this point, we begin moving our mouse down in the opposite direction. It then moves slightly to the right, so we move slightly to the left. Then it moves to the left, so we move our mouse to the right. Then it moves to the right, so we move our mouse to the left. And this is the fundamental concept you have to understand. Every gun has a spray pattern, and by moving your mouse in the opposite direction of the pattern, you will control your recoil. It's important to note that not all guns have the same recoil pattern. For example, the Phantom is very similar to the Vandal. It goes up, slightly to the right, then to the left, then to the right, but then has another sway to the left that the Vandal doesn't have. Or check out the Ares. It actually moves in an upwards zigzag pattern completely unique that other guns don't do. Now, if this were a game like Counter-Strike, then all you would need to do is learn the spray patterns of each gun, as the spray patterns in Counter-Strike are always consistent. However, Valorant has done things differently. They've introduced semi-randomness to their sprays. So what exactly does this mean? Well, check this out. Again, I'm using the Vandal. Notice how the first 8 bullets are almost always the same. The recoil always goes in an upward motion. This means that there is almost no randomness to the first 8 bullets that you fire. However, once you get past the 8th bullet of your spray, the gun will start to sway side to side. It's this specific moment in the spray that the developers have introduced semi-randomness to. You see, we know the Vandal will first go slightly to the right, then to the left, then to the right. This is guaranteed and not random at all. However, what is random is how fast the gun will sway from one direction to the other and how fast it will change back to the other direction. For example, notice how when I spray here, it goes to the left, then stays on the left for a good period of time before moving back to the right. Yet in this next spray, it goes to the left, then immediately swings back to the right. This is what's random, how fast it will change directions when swaying from side to side. Now, you're probably wondering, well, then how in the world do I control my spray if the left and right sway is completely random? The developers have thought of this and actually created a way to tell which direction your gun is swaying in the game. When I'm spraying, watch the barrel of my gun. Notice how when the bullets spray left, the barrel of the gun moves left. Then when my bullets spray right, the barrel of the gun moves right. This is the gun sway indicator and how we can control our spray past the 8th bullet, when the spray becomes semi-random as it moves side to side. Now, all I have to do is watch my gun's barrel in my peripheral vision when I spray. When it moves to the left, I move my mouse to the right to compensate. When it moves to the right, I move my mouse to the left. So let's put everything we learned together. I first learned the spray pattern of the gun, in this case the Vandal, and know to move in the opposite direction of it. I begin to spray, and for the first 8 bullets, I make sure to pull down. Then, I know to make a slight adjustment to the left for the next 2 or 3 bullets, and then I watch the barrel of my gun in my peripheral vision. It sways to the left, so I move my mouse to the right to compensate. It sways to the right, so I move my mouse to the left to compensate. This is how you can now have laser-like accuracy just like the pros. Great, but before you get ahead of yourself, there's still a bit more to learn. That was just the fundamentals of recoil control. For example, in Valorant, you can actually aim down sights with most automatic weapons. So how exactly does this impact recoil control? Well, the way Valorant handles aim down sight recoil control is completely unique. You see, when we are spraying from the hip, you'll notice how our bullets went above our actual crosshair. This is referred to as bullet spread or bloom. This bullet spread means we're not placing our crosshair directly on the enemy, and instead predicting the bullet spread and aiming our crosshair below them to compensate. However, when aiming down sights, there is actually no bullet spread at all. Yes, you heard me right. This means your bullets will go wherever your crosshair is aiming. Now, despite there being no bullet spread, you'll still have recoil in the gun. This recoil is actually the exact same pattern as when hip fired, so your memorization of that spray pattern will actually transfer over. But what's most important to realize is that when spraying down sights, your goal is to control your crosshair so that it's directly on top of the enemy since there is no bullet spread. Now, some of you may be wondering if you should just be spraying in every single gunfight. I mean, after all, you can now control your recoil, right? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. Recoil control is difficult, and with the added semi-randomness to spraying, there's no way to make it completely consistent. Compare this to something like one-tapping on opponents' heads. Your bullets will always go where you're aiming. So when should you be spraying, and when should you be one-tapping or burst firing? Well, to answer this question, you first need to understand a mechanic called accuracy reset. Check this out, when you spray your gun, you'll notice your crosshair begins to recoil upwards from its original placement. Then, when you stop your spray, you'll see your crosshair will go back to its original place you are aiming. It's at this moment that your accuracy has reset, and now your next bullet will be fully accurate again. When we one-tap, we can see the crosshair barely moves and quickly goes back to its original place, allowing us to one-tap relatively fast with total accuracy. However, if we start doing 3 to 4 bullet bursts, it now takes us longer to reset our accuracy. And if we begin spraying, it takes us a long time to reset our bullet accuracy. So what does all this mean? Well, if I'm facing multiple opponents and I one-tap them, I shouldn't hold down my spray, since my accuracy is going to reset extremely fast. I can wait for it to reset, then one-tap the next enemy. Similar idea with 3 to 4 bullet bursts. The accuracy reset is going to be relatively quick, so I can reliably wait for it to reset before shooting at the next opponent. However, once you get past that 4 bullet mark, your accuracy reset is going to take far too long, and this is when you need to do a mechanic called a spray transfer. You want to continue spraying and transfer that spray to the next opponent, since it will take you far too long to reset your accuracy and then shoot again. And lastly, let's talk about a unique crosshair setting that can make controlling your spray so much easier. Go into your crosshair settings and set the outer line opacity, length, and thickness to 1, and then the outer line offset to 40. Now, when spraying the Vandal, the top outer line is the max distance the Vandal's recoil will reach. This is a great help for newer players that haven't fully mastered recoil control, as you can use this top outer line to aim for the opponent's head when you spray. Okay, when it comes to practicing recoil control, it's so important to devote time to an actual practice routine, as real games won't give you the amount of practice you need to truly master it. Don't worry, we got you covered though. Here's Skill-Cap's practice routine for mastering recoil control. Hop into practice mode and head to this target. Set the distance to 10 meters. It's important that you practice one gun at a time. Don't try to learn multiple recoil patterns at once, or it will just confuse you. In this case, I'm going to use the Phantom. Hold left click and don't move your mouse so you can see the recoil pattern. Then practice moving in the opposite direction of this pattern. Make sure to pay attention to your gun's barrel in your peripheral vision once you get past that 8th bullet. This will signal when to move your mouse right and when to move it left. Then practice unloading an entire clip, getting every single bullet within the smallest circle on the target at 10 meters. Once you can consistently do this, set the target to 20 meters. Now practice unloading an entire clip, getting every bullet within the second smallest circle. Use the bullet impact markers to help teach you what you're doing wrong. If the bullets are going too far up, then it means you need to pull down more. If they're consistently going too much to the left, then you need to pull to the right more. By making sure to use this routine every single day, you'll truly become a god at recoil control. Alright, so what do you think about Valorant having semi-random recoil? Do you think this is a good addition or bad, and why? let us know in the comment section below, as we'd love to hear from you. While you're down there, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, and like the video. We'll be releasing premium Valorant guides just like this one, designed with one goal in mind, helping you become a better player. We here at Skill Capped want to thank you for watching, and good luck, good have, and good game.